Question. DS. Both Tom and Jane finished their trips in the same T hours, where Tom's trip was 250 miles long and Jane's trip was 300 miles long. What was Tom's average speed? Condition 1. Tom finished his trip in 5 hours. Condition 2. Jane's average speed was 10 miles per hour faster than Tom's. Solution. Now we will solve this DS question using the variable approach. DS, 3 variables and 2 equations. Question. Condition 1, 1 equation. Condition 2, 1 equation. DS question with 3 variables and 2 equations. Let the original condition in a DS question contain 3 variables and 2 equations. Now, 3 variables and 2 equations would generally require 1 more equation for us to be able to solve for the value of the variables. We know that each condition would usually give us an equation, and since we need 1 equation to match the number of variables and equations in the original condition, the equal number of equations and variables should logically lead to answer D. Let's apply the 3 steps suggested previously. Follow the first step of the variable approach by modifying and rechecking the original condition and the question. Let the average speed of Tom and Jane be v1 and v2. Let the time they traveled be t. The distance traveled by Tom is v1 times t equals 250, and the distance traveled by Jane is v2 times t equals 300. We have to find Tom's average speed, the value of v1. That's right. You should practice solving questions like this. It will help you ace the GMAT. Follow the second and third steps. From the original condition, we have 3 variables, v1, v2, and t, and 2 equations. v1 times t equals 250, and v2 times t equals 300. To match the number of variables with the number of equations, we need 1 more equation. Since conditions 1 and 2 will provide 1 equation each, D would most likely be the answer. Recall 3 principles and choose D as the most likely answer. Let's take a look at each condition. Since it is likely that D would be the answer, we are looking at 1 and 2 separately. Of course, just choose D if you don't know how to start the process of solving this question. Condition 1 tells us that Tom finished his journey in 5 hours. That is, v1 times t equals 250, or v1 times 5 equals 250. Therefore, v1 equals 50 miles per hour. Since it is a unique answer, this condition is sufficient. Condition 2 tells us that Jane's average speed was 10 miles per hour faster than Tom's. That is, v2 equals v1 plus 10. Substituting this in the original condition, v2 times t equals 300, we get v1 plus 10 whole times t equals 300. Distributing t through the bracket gives us v1 times t plus 10 times t equals 300. Now, we also know that v1 times t equals 250, which we can substitute into the equation. The resulting equation is 250 plus 10 times t equals 300. That is, 10 times t equals 50, or t equals 5. If we substitute t equals 5 in v1 times t equals 250, we get v1 times 5 equals 250, or v1 equals 50 miles per hour, and Tom's average speed will be 50 miles per hour. Since it is a unique answer, this condition is sufficient. Wow, fantastic! This is a new theory, so you should do a lot of practice. That's how you master the concept and gain the ability to apply it in the actual exam. Each condition alone is sufficient, so D is the correct answer. Answer D.